Today we're in Palm Springs, California, visiting the beautifully revived Spanish-style home of Sheldon Harte, interior designer and author of The Refined Home. Once a patchwork of clashing renovations, Sheldon has transformed this 1920s house into a space that feels both modern and timeless, blending Palm Springs' iconic mid-century spirit with classic design, collected antiques, and striking art that bring personality and charm to every room. From serene courtyards framed by mountain views to cozy interiors layered with rich textiles and sculptural furniture, this is a home that celebrates California living with a distinctly personal touch. Outside, the design sensibility extends beyond the walls, even to one of Sheldon's most cherished pieces, his 1969 red Mercedes.
I've loved this car since I was a kid. I originally thought I wanted one in walnut brown, but my mom always had red cars. When I saw this one, I was like, I had to have it. So it's a really fun car from Palm Springs. We go to dinner in it quite often, drive around. It's just a wonderful classic car.
For Sheldon, home is far more than four walls. It's a place to rest, recharge, and live beautifully.
My grandmother had a great saying that home is where you get your emotional groceries.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hello, Homeworthy. I'm Sheldon Harte. Welcome to our home in Palm Springs. Come on in. Hi, I'm Sheldon Harte. I'm an interior designer. Welcome to my home in Palm Springs, California. I figured out I wanted to be an interior designer as I got into my teenage years. As a kid, thought I wanted to own a Cadillac agency or be a haberdasher, as my dad liked to remind me. But as my mom was a clothing designer, fashion, and loved to antique. And when you're a little kid, antiquing seems like the most boring thing in the world, but later in life you realize it was a pretty good thing. And I realized I loved houses and always wanted to be an interior designer. So I went to college and got a degree in business because my dad thought I would never make a living as an interior designer. But then he came around as I did it for quite a while, and I've done it now for just about 45 years. We were drawn to Palm Springs years ago. I seem to always have one or two projects going on out here because it's so easy to get to from Orange County. And we first started with a small condo. Then we bought a really big house, almost 5,000 feet. We decided maybe that was too much for a secondary home. My husband's always liked old Las Palmas. And so we looked around. Some friends had looked at this house. It was built in 1941 originally. It was a really great size, just right under 3,000 feet. And we originally thought we were gonna do more of a mid-century modern house, but we love the charm of this Spanish house. It had just been remodeled by the two previous owners, and unfortunately it looked like grandma lived here. It was dark gold, burgundy, hunter green, and navy blue with goopy frames and camelback sofas and small windows. So we decided that we thought the bones of the house could be good. We could reorganize the spaces and make it kind of a modern take on a Spanish house by all the steel windows. We put in really beautiful black limestone floors as a great kind of palette. They had really little beams. We juiced up the size of the beams, just really tried to give the house the appropriate background. And then we moved some things. The living room fireplace was in the middle of the room with a hallway behind it. It seemed ridiculous. So we reorganized the spaces, moved the primary bedroom to the other side of the house, so the guest bedroom's on one side and the primary's on the other side, and just tried to make it a really great livable house. This is the living room. I love this totem sculpture in bronze, a really wonderful piece. So this piece, instead of having a light fixture in here, it's a hanging piece by Larry Bell. It was in the opening of the New Whitney Museum in New York. I love this sofa, and it's slip covered in linen, cool company Varellin. The floor lamp is Brutalist from Lee Stanton in LA, and I loved the lines of it, and I happen to really be fond of Brutalist items. The coffee table is an old vintage 70s coffee table I found in LA. So I really tried to mix it up. I love this chair that we bought at a gallery in Paris. Ellen happened to buy the other one. There was only a pair of them, but it's actually a comfortable little chair, really interesting. And again, it's more in the brutalism sector. I happen to love Steuben glass. So this is a vintage Steuben bowl that I bought at a antique shop in Rancho Santa Fe. I recognized it right away as Steuben, and it's unfortunate they're no longer in business, but I happen to love their glass pieces. I love this Stephanie Vaquero infinity sculpture on the coffee table. She's a great and upcoming artist in Laguna Beach. And I like quirky chairs, so this is just an old little funny stick chair that is more of a piece of art than something to actually sit in, but I love the rusticness of it and how it juxtaposes with everything. So I layered the rugs. The rug wasn't, I found it here at a shop in Palm Springs. I love the color, but it wasn't quite big enough, so I layered it on top of a woven bleached sisal rug so that it had enough impact for the room. I love layering rugs. I think it adds interest to the whole environment. This is a vintage chair that I bought at Therian years ago. I'd had it kind of stored, not sure when I was going to use it, but this was a perfect house for it. This beautiful industrial table is gigantic, but again, it's from Lee Stanton in LA, and I love the whole, all the studs on it and things like that. It has an amazing old finish. We have a really great piece of art over here from Philip K. Smith, who's an artist in the desert, and again, some collections of things I've collected. This chair is a 1940s vintage chair recovered in shearling, and it's uber comfortable, one of my favorite pieces. And then something we designed is this tete-a-tete. It's done in a really beautiful alpaca bouquet. It's fun to have a drink and sit and face each other and chit-chat about the day. The painting on the fireplace is an artist named Raymond Stapron. He's in his 90s, really known for his still lifes. I really love these antique sabers. I saw them sitting in an antique shop, and I had my friend Ron Dyer make them into candlesticks. So they're really cool. One of our favorite paintings is this black and white John Miller. And what's cool about it is it's a geometry lesson and has all this symmetry. He was well known for that. This is an old vintage Rose Tarlo chair. We probably had it 25 years. It's been in a whole bunch of different fabrics. It's uber comfortable, and I just like, again, the whole mixture of things. This is an old postal cabinet from Lee Stanton in Los Angeles. It has writing on it and a bunch of numbers. So it must have been for a building, and then different people would come and get their mail and things before we had to have anything locked up and stuff. This is a great Willie Gould planter. I'm a big fan of Willie Gould. We have this battery, which is actually a painting, and you'll see it's canvas, and in the back, it's all open and you can see the canvas. So it's truly a painting, and this artist is known for doing things like that. And a great Roger Kuntz painting from the 60s. It was his whole series about the 405 freeway. So I happen to really love that painting. And then John and I, for some reason, saw this pufferfish at the San Francisco Fall Antique Show and both fell in love with it, so we had to have it. And then I love our nomadic chairs. They're from Blackman Cruise. I love that they were all hand knotted and things, kind of maybe a gypsy or somebody like that would have had them, but they're really cool, really interesting to look at. So this room had 2 small sliders in it, and we were going to do steel windows in this house, so we opened the whole wall up. It's really great because when we have the doors open, it gives it a very inside-outside feeling. The beams in the room were really small. I thought they were very underscaled, so we had all new beams installed. The fireplace was right in the middle, kind of where the John Miller painting is, with a hallway behind it. You couldn't see the dining room, couldn't see the bar. It made no sense, so we took it out, actually did a new fireplace. I drew it and did the shape of it, made it a larger, more impressive fireplace, and I think it really opened up the room and makes the whole house feel like it has a lot more flow. My design style can range from really traditional to very contemporary and everything in between. We have a very eclectic mix of things. I know that word's overused a lot, but it's truly a mix of some very classical pieces, some industrial pieces, modern pieces. We tried to just have a really interesting mix. We have a great art collection, mainly hard edge abstract, but we've mixed other things into it as time goes by. And so we just wanted a really interesting house. My husband asked for a little more color in this house than our last house, so we have pops of color in every room. The living room has an orange rug. One of the guest bedrooms is red. The other one's green. We have kind of electric blue in ours. So we tried to have fun. The family room has, as our friends call it, the lawn sofa, because it looks like a sheet of grass, even though it's from Pierre Frey and it's a blue clay, but it is kind of grass green. So we had fun with color and just mixing everything and put an interesting house together. This is the dining room, and we have a cool collection of antique Swedish chairs mixed with some chairs from the 70s, a vintage zebra skin on the floor. This is a cool, beautiful lacquer table with a Capa Repoussé base from Robert Quo in Los Angeles. Two really great paintings. One is by an artist in San Francisco, and it's a study of buildings, Suhas Bujbal. And then we also have a really great painting on the other side that was a gentleman who was a magician for years and started doing painting. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but all his paintings are named after magic tricks. And at night, what's so great about him is they cast these amazing shadows on the wall. His name's Tony DeLapp. So outside the dining room, I was in a store in LA and I saw the guys struggling to get this pair of chairs in, and I said, what's the deal? And they said, oh, they're out of stone. And I thought they were really artistic, so I bought them for out here. We have a really great 18th century torso out of stone that I had bought for a client, and they kind of changed what they were doing. So they asked me if I wanted it, and I said, of course, and I had the really great steel base made for it. And our backyard's kind of interesting because our front yard's where our pool is and really the focus, but we have a cool backyard as well. It's just not very deep. I was friends with a guy for a long time named Marcello Villano, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but he was an incredible desert landscape designer and very much used plants that are sustainable in the desert, that work out here. So I love all the textures, the different colors of the blue palms, the green, and things like that. So it's a true desert landscape and really a great, easy garden to take care of. Yet I think it feels modern and really cool. I'm the worst client there is. I have too many things available to me. So it's fun to do it, and my husband just said, do whatever you want. I'm not gonna say no to you this time. And that was great, but it's also challenging because you wanna make sure you're making the right decisions, and you experiment with things sometimes that you can't experiment. So being your own client can be difficult. It can be really frustrating, but it can also be incredibly fulfilling. You know, when I look at movies and TV shows and things, I glean different trends and styles of things from lots of different shows. And it's amazing what I pick up, like the new Matlock. I was shocked to see how much they use the color teal, from clothing to sets to everything in it, which I thought was interesting. Not quite how I do my design jobs, but I find inspiration everywhere. But you see a piece of furniture, or you see an aesthetic, a piece of art, and there's things everywhere to find and look at and get excited about. Let me show you the kitchen. It's not a huge kitchen, but it's really serviceable. We have really cool reclaimed wood cabinets. The counters are Princess White quartzite that we did in a hand-done organic finish. I grooved it so that it was a great drying rack. This really cool stainless steel sink mixed with vintage brass faucetry. And then the perimeter of the kitchen's done in black, because I thought it was a nice contrast with the floors. So we have a really great Heston range that is amazing to cook on. These are vintage tiles we found that are from France. We opted to use shelves instead of upper cabinets just to keep it a more casual, accessible kitchen. I happen to have a big collection of Montez Doggett dishware, and I love all their artistic pieces. And this opens right to our little breakfast area, which we use a lot for breakfast, but we always use it to play games and things like that. Kind of a fun collection. I happen to like bugs, so I have a collection of pieces I've collected over the years of bugs. I had Ferrante make this light fixture for us. It's a hand kind of holding something, and this great old vintage table with the zinc top and beautiful vintage garden chairs I decided to use inside. It's beautiful because it sits out and looks at the backyard, but it's also open to the family room. One thing I decided to do is not having upper cabinets was we needed a place to store glasses and things. So I bought this old pharmacy cabinet, and it's where we keep all our glassware. And I like it that you can see into it, so then when I'm setting tables or choosing things, whether I need wine glasses, whatever type of glasses, we have that. We have a fun collection of just accessories, a beautiful hand-blown glass bowl. These two fruit, squash and the apple, are from Robert Quo. The first piece of art that John and I ever bought as a couple was this, it's called the Sun Chaser. And she has a bunch of fun things tied to her skirt, and every once in a while we find things to tie to it, but there's pencils and beads and shells and all sorts of stuff. And I thought, perfect piece of art for the desert. Lindsay Adelman light fixtures, which I love the size of them. So we have these really great bar stools from Blackman Cruise that I love. The day I saw them, I wanted them, and I got them from Valentine's Day about 5 years ago. And then we have our little family room TV area. I bought an old vintage cabinet and had a lift put in it so it hides the TV. One of our favorite sofas in this beautiful Pierre Frey alpaca boucle. All our friends call it the kind of grass sofa, the grass green sofa, but it's really comfortable. And then a really fun old vintage table and a couple of vintage chairs. And then we bought this Mel Bachner that I love. I've been accused all my life of when I get tired of something, I always say blah, blah, blah. So John thought it was very appropriate that we had this painting. And then again, this looks out onto the backyard. So we can have breakfast out there in the mornings. It's very accessible to the kitchen. It's nice to have the garden spot. I designed this for another project I did in Healdsburg, and Paul Ferrante made it, and I decided I wanted to use it here. So I love the way it just is kind of asymmetrical, and it just makes for an interesting fixture. So we did a walk-up bar. We have a huge wine collection, so 2 wine refrigerators. One side has red, the other side has white. All our glassware and things. So it makes it a really easy bar to entertain with and perfect for the desert. And then we have a really fun powder room. This house reflects my personality that I like mixtures of things. I think, just doing one set type of design or one type of thing can be not very fulfilling and actually boring. But it's fun to find things, collect things, work on our art collection. As we buy new pieces, we deaccession other pieces. We're always learning about art and, going to all the different art venues and shows. So it's fun to be able to have things change and to move things around. And sometimes I'll see a new chair that I love, and so I'll deaccession a chair if I'm not that crazy about it. So it can be an evolving space and a changing space, but also can stay a lot of the original pieces that I really do love stay. And this has all our family sayings from both of our families, which are from Texas. And it was my brother did it all in white paint pen. So it kind of looks like graffiti, but we have a lot of great things, like my favorite saying, home is where you get your emotional groceries. You don't always get what you pay for. You don't pay for it, you're not getting it. We have just a lot of funny, and it keeps people entertained. And every time they're in here, everybody comes out and laughs about, oh, I didn't see this last time, or I didn't read that saying. So even things that say like, let's paint the town red, or park in the rear, or get your A's out now. Let's just shop. Just funny things that all our family said. So we had a lot of fun doing it. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Good luck with that. Blah, blah, blah. So all fun things that our families have all said for years. Concept Studio in Costa Mesa did this hand-done marble floor. I wanted something kind of fun and interesting. John calls this our baby sink, and the faucet actually comes down from the ceiling, but it's an old vintage Italian sink. We think it came from a church maybe. We had Caleb, who's a glass artist, and Lisa Viejo blow these glass pieces for us. I just placed them all over the wall, so it wasn't the typical sconces. And then we have this really cool black Moroccan tile. Yes. Because doesn't everybody want to feel like a king or queen when they look in the mirror in the powder room? My favorite room in this house are all the rooms. I hate to say that because it sounds cheesy, but I'm really proud of all of them. I love the living room because it's a really great room for conversations. But then I love the red guest bedroom because I like the crazy graffiti on the toile. And I love our kitchen. It's really serviceable and open. So it's really hard for me to say I have an absolute favorite room in this house. And I also love our outdoor area because we have a great pool area. So I'm lucky enough to say that I have many favorite rooms in this house. I love our powder room. It's really fun with lots of sayings from Texas that both my husband and I grew up with. And my brother, who's an artist, did it all in white paint pen. So it kind of has a graffiti-esque side to it. But I just like our house in general. So here's kind of our gallery space, which is the hallway that connects the guest bedrooms. This is a really cool art piece made out of tires from a New York artist named Shakira Booker. Everything she does is out of tires. I happened to see it in a gallery in Nashville, and they had a client that was unfortunately having to move into retirement living. And she had told the gallerist that if anybody ever comes in and recognizes this piece and knows who the artist is, that's how I want to have it. And she'd had it for 6 months. No one had walked in to say anything about it, except I knew exactly who it was. And so she said, "It's yours." I said, "Yes, but I don't even know how much it is." She goes, "She just wants you to pay a very minimal price. It's a great piece of art, and she wants it to have a good home." I said, "Well, I'll have a great home." And then these are very other things that we've collected over the years. At the end, you're going to see 3 hats. My husband's grandfather was a Shriner, and these are all his Shriner hats. He was the potentate, the past potentate. And so we just thought this was a fun collection of the Shriner hats. And then we also have the last known photo of Betty Davis, and just some other things we've collected along the way. Welcome to our first guest bedroom. It's a riot of red. This is a Pierre Frey toile that they had an artist do graffiti on, and I thought it was really fun. Red's my favorite color. We have a great Hunt Sloan bunny over the bed, and these beautiful vintage leather chairs. We have these great Samsung art TVs, so we always have art displayed on the TVs instead of just a black screen. This is an old bench that I bought a long, long time ago. It's just kind of cool and interesting. The draperies are really great. They're this unmatched stripe with hand stitching on them, so I like the whole graphicness of them for the room. This was a great piece done by a young artist, and I thought it was very soulful because she said that she liked enlarging the feet and hands because she thought it gave the figure an enhanced feeling, and it's just always been a favorite piece of ours. The lamps I had made, these are how they used to print fabric, and so I bought them, and they're the rollers for the fabric presses, and had lamps made out of them. And then I love the great plaster chandelier from Paul Ferrante as well. And then we have this great painting. I love the reflectivity. It's from an artist named Jimmy Gleason. Again, he was a big Tony DeLapp fan, so you can see the angular parts that related to Tony DeLapp. They just knew each other. Jimmy Gleason just had always admired Tony, but I thought it was interesting when we bought the painting that it had that bond to it. This is the guest bathroom adjacent to the guest bedroom, and I used the bugs in here as a wall covering from Abnormals Anonymous. I thought it was really fun. I love the pattern it created. Some people are bugged by the bugs, haha, but I love them. So I love the graphicness. And then the stripe of the tile, again from Concept Studio, relates to the draperies in the bedroom. So I like to have subtle things that relate to each other, but don't look over grouped. So I have a book coming out called The Refined Home, Sheldon Harte, by Von Dome Press. And there's 12 projects in it, and it shows the breadth of my work from really contemporary things to very classical and traditional. So I really pride myself on doing things that work for the client and creating wonderful environments for the clients to live their lives in. Welcome to our primary bedroom. Again, I had the walls hand painted. We decided we wanted more of a landscape motif. My brother did them again. We had this great bed that one of my clients made for us for a wedding present. So I like the whole juxtaposition of the modern and the classic and the collected. This is the room we're featuring more blue in. And we have this really beautiful rug from Woven in Los Angeles, a vintage day bed that I did in shearling again, some really cool nightstands that are from the 50s from Whitcomb. And we also have horses, so we chose to have a horse piece for the art in here because my husband rides, he does reining. So, and it looks very much like his Palomino, who's named Ice-T. So this is the patio off our primary bedroom, and it's where we have one of our favorite things, our outdoor shower. So we shower out here during all the warm months. It's just great. It's so relaxing. You get to have the warmth of the air and be free in the privacy of our own patio off our bedroom. This is our primary bath. It's not a huge space, but we love it. We have this great black flamed granite sink that we use, and our mirrors. We have hidden medicine cabinets that are part of the paneling. And one of my favorite things, because I like to take baths, is we have a really cool wet room. So the wet room has 2 shower heads in it. It has this really cool bathtub that looks like an old trough. It's actually from Spain. And then we also have a TV, because a lot of times in the evening, I like, after a hard day, take a bath and watch the news for a few minutes. I hope when people step into our house the first time, they're intrigued. I think there's a lot of different things to look at. Our art collection's interesting, a variety of furnishings, how it was put together. It tells a lot about myself, my husband and I together, and that we have a very collected life and that we have a very interesting and stimulating life, and that everybody sees different things every time they come. So it's kind of fun that people ask me, did you just get this? And I said, no, I've had it for a long time. Oh, but I may have moved it around, or it may have been redeployed somewhere. So then it gives it a new lease on being something. So it's amazing, even just moving things, how much that can change people's awareness and what they see and what they don't see. So here's one of my 1969 280 SE. I've loved this car since I was a kid. I originally thought I wanted one in walnut brown, but my mom always had red cars. When I saw this one, I was like, I had to have it. So it's a really fun car from Palm Springs. We go to dinner in it quite often, drive around. It's just a wonderful classic car. One of the last hand-built cars Mercedes ever made. This was the first year it had disc brakes and fuel injection, so it was ahead of its time, and it is truly handmade. Welcome to our front courtyard. It's where our pool is housed. It's our main entertaining space. We have various areas, the chaise lounges for sunning. We have our loggia that you can get a little respite from the sun. Then we have a great outdoor fireplace that we use in the evenings to listen to music and share cocktails and have fun with guests. So it's a really versatile space. It opens to the bedrooms as well as the living room, so it gives the house a lot of indoor-outdoor flow. My grandmother had a great saying that home is where you get your emotional groceries. So home is a place to rest, recharge, get stimulated, prepare for the work week, but also entertain, have friends over. You know, it's a great background to live your life in and really enjoy life. And we're very lucky that we have a great home to do that, and our friends and family and everybody love it. So we have a lot of events here, a lot of dinners. I love to cook. So it's a fun house to entertain and have groups of people in.